Hello one and all, and welcome back to Final Drive Sim Racing. Hello everybody, and welcome back to Thursday nights at Final Drive Sim Racing, and it's sprint race week, and we are at what you can see in the background there is a very wet SUZUKA for round 8 and 2 sprint races around this fantastic circuit, one of the best in the world. So just a reminder of our sprint race format there for you: 15 minutes qualifying, 40-minute race, a 5-minute qualifying and a 20-minute race, compared to our normal sort of 80 minutes for the endurance series. Top 3 from race 1 cannot qualify for race 2, giving us a reverse grid situation. Your commentary team, as always, myself, Luke Dugdale, and Aaron Markham will be joining us very shortly when he gets home from work. And that is us, we're ready to go. Dougie's already with us, so absolutely great to see you back with us, Doug. And evening. SUZUKA, yeah. So first time we've covered this. We haven't raced there in any other leagues ever, I don't think. So a bit of a new experience for all of us, as a track that most will be familiar with through Formula 1 over the years, and some GT racing as well. But not one that we've done a lot of racing round, is it?
No, definitely not. I think I've drove around it a few times on race rooming and SUTTs because I think it was on ranked lobbies, but apart from that, it was only a few races, but nothing serious, so I don't really know too much about the track, to be fair. So.
Yeah, I mean it's a track I know well from F1 and this game as well, but I will say it's one of my absolute favourites. I mean, Christ, I spent hours driving around this on Gran Turismo 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and Sport. I haven't got 7 because I refuse to buy a PlayStation 5 because I'm no PC man. But anyway, cracking track, absolutely love it. I suppose one great way to get you familiarised with it will be to watch the track guide. So if you want to pull the stream up on your end, you'll be able to see the track guide coming your way very, very soon. So this is my take on SUZUKA. Hey guys, and welcome to Final Drive Sim Racing's usual track guide. And I'm delighted to say this week we are at SUZUKA in Japan, and of course the Honda owned circuit. I am in the one and only Honda NSX. So let's remind ourselves about this fantastic circuit. Of course, very popular with Formula 1 fans and GT fans alike. One of the only figure-of-8 circuits in the world. So just through the last couple of corners. And then on the power, down towards the start-finish straight. Down towards the first corner. Of course, one of the most famous crashes ever to have happened. Senna versus Prost into this corner. But we're going to be down to fourth, turn it in, down to second, turn it in again. Back on the power, down towards the S's. You want to be accelerating between these corners, but not carrying too much speed through them, as that is what will catch you out. Understeering off into the kitty litter. Up to third. Patiently on the throttle when the corner opens up enough that you can floor it. Down towards the Degners. Down to third. Throw it in. Back on the power. Down to first. Throw it in. Back on the power. And up towards the hairpin. Hard on the brakes. Down to first. Around it and back on the power, and you'll stay on the power now until the next hairpin. Despite some of these corners being quite tight, you can take them at full throttle as you accelerate up the hill towards the next hairpin. And you want to be down to second, turned in, and then you've got to be really patient through here as this corner tightens and tightens, and it's so tempting to carry too much speed through Spoon. And again, run out wide, but it's a really tricky one to get right lap after lap. Then you've got 130R, named so, of course, because of the degrees of the corner. As in, if you had a protractor at hand, through the last complex, back on the power, and down towards the start-finish straight. It's been a good while since I have driven SUZUKA, and that is not a lap time that's going to worry the top 10 in Final Drive Sim Racing, that is for sure. But yeah, great little circuit, absolutely love it, always have, always will, and really looking forward to commentating on some sprint races around here this evening. So back to the live action. So there you have it, SUZUKA. So, how did I do, Doug? Was I alright?
I think that was alright to me. It seemed you would have done better than I could have done, so there you go.
Well, my lap times look absolutely phenomenal, but that's of course because I was not brave enough to simulate the wet conditions that these guys are in at the moment. So where you see them doing, what's the best time out there at the moment, a 2:13.5, and mine was a 2:06 flat. That's not talent, that's a nice warm dry tarmac that has accounted for that 7.5 seconds. I promise you it's absolutely Nothing to do with me, and the top guy's probably looking at doing a very low 2 minutes around here in prime conditions. But we're not going to get those prime conditions tonight. We've got wet running again, which is the third wet race we've had this season. Yes, we had...
Yeah, including changeable.
was it Monza or Imola? Which one did we do? Monza, wasn't it? Sorry,
Monza,
this season.
yeah.
But yeah, that was wet. And Donny was wet, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, wet and dry. And so we've got a third wet race out of the 8 races this season. And a real challenge. Lots of new drivers, I'm told, are joining us this evening. They're not entered into the actual race results officially towards the championship, but they are, of course, with us just to fill out the grid and get themselves all prepped up ready for the next season. So yeah, we could get some surprises out there tonight. We're just watching this man Alex Kingston. He's plodding around in the Ferrari and is currently second fastest. I'm just looking at some other new guys as well. So we've got Mr. Wolf. He's in the pits at the moment, but he's another new guy who looks pretty quick. Mefferson is still in the pits at the moment as we come towards the end of practice. The server will be reset in a moment. There was an issue earlier, so they're resetting it now, ready for qualifying, I believe. But Mefferson looks pretty quick as well. Doug, he's up in 5th and qualified on pole in the wet in the opening race this season, so I think he's comfortable in that Honda in these types of conditions, isn't he?
Definitely. I think obviously general ruling is practice makes perfect, and I think whoever's putting a practice this week will really show here, because I know some of the guys who said they haven't turned a wheel around here yet, and he was warned of you need to put some laps in, because it's someone said I think it took them 5 laps before he even got a clean lap altogether, and that wasn't a fastest lap. So as you said about Mefferson getting pole in the wet last time, I can only assume he's talented in the wet, so I think we could see him more than 5th, I think. Maybe on the podium, you never know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's see how it goes, isn't it? Not favouring the McLarens, apparently. Ash Humphreys, the number 44 McLaren driver, just in the chat saying the McLaren not looking so good here. I suspect quite a bit of that will have to do with the inclement conditions. It's not exactly pleasant out there, and I suspect the McLaren may have been a bit more competitive if it was dry, but apparently not enjoying the wet, according to Mr. Humphreys anyway. So we'll keep an eye on those McLarens, because we said last week they weren't going to be competitive, and they ended up being very competitive. So we won't curse ourselves.
What do we know?
Yeah, what do we know? Absolutely nothing at all. Not a sausage. So we got some new graphics sorted for you this time around, folks. So you can see the timing data on the bottom right hand corner. Let's go to a driver who's actually out on track, so we can get some of that. So you can see his position and his number. You can see the last 3 laps they've done, which will be particularly useful in the race when we're comparing drivers as they challenge each other. You can see his name, and you can see what gear he's in and how fast he's going. Unfortunately, it is in kilometres, and I'm a miles an hour type of guy. But I can do the maths, roughly, in my head. But yes, kilometres is the best we've got, but we'll make the most of it. Yeah, that is what we got. So we got a new tower on the left, as you can see. That's customizable, and you can see the qualifying status and time running down there in the top left. And as people do a fastest lap, in the sort of middle of the screen, just above the bottom right graphic, you'll see it flash up with a purple fastest lap and the driver and time, so we can keep a proper eye now, particularly on quali, as people go around and set fastest laps. Do you think people will be faster as the session goes on, with it being raining, with them moving water out the way again, heating their tyres and improving the track through driving on it, Doug? Or will it be a case of getting a lap in early and hoping for the best?
I think it would be a kind of obviously the track will get better because the track dries out and there's a drier line which will become faster. But I also think setting a banker lap will also be key here. Is just making sure you've got a time set, because in a wet, I think it's sometimes hard to predict whether you're really going to meet your true potential. Obviously, you might have put practice in and you set a certain time, but to try and perform again under pressure might be a different story. So it might be worth just playing it safe this time.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's worth getting a lap in than no lap, particularly, if you're going to have. I think it's Martin Brundle always says rain is the great leveler, so it can definitely mix the grid up a bit. So you definitely want to get some sort of banker lap in and find your way into quali rather than going gung ho and ending up with no lap at all. That is for sure. So we're just seeing the championship leader, Adam Foster, and defending champion as well. The championship will be a lot closer when the drop scores kick in, ready for the last race. But at the moment, he does have quite the lead in the championship. And while we're waiting for him to complete his lap, we'll just have a quick look at the Drivers' Championship. So you can see there, Adam currently leading by 89 points, which is quite the lead over Wes Bierkhaus, and then Dominic Ingle another 4 points back. But that will change when drop scores kick in. It will be a lot closer, as Adam will lose a lot of points in that process because he's done every race. And Alan Davis still leading the AM Championship by 16 points from Weavers. And the teams, Adam Foster's team now leading that championship from Reed and Mefferson in second place, with Ingle and Weavers in third. So we are just heading back to the action, and Foster about to complete the first lap of qualifying, and the lap time is, drum roll please, as you can see, the fastest lap graphic is working beautifully there. 2:13.3 is the fastest lap we have had so far.
Practice that.
Yes, indeed. So I'm just looking for somebody who's about to start a lap. See if we can pick anyone up. No, Ash was showing that he was doing a lap there, but he clearly isn't because he's still in the pits.
Fairly, it was about 10 seconds off starting a new lap from looking at the time.
Where is he? I'm trying to find him.
7th.
Yes, there he is, just crossing the line. So let's jump on board. This is what it looks like. This is our equivalent of the helmet cam you see in F1. And just as we join him, he flies out wide and almost crashes into the kitty litter. So that was a bad time to join him. There we are. Dan Stevens on a lap. Let's join Adam Foster's teammate and jump on board with him for a lap. So through turn 1. And then you come up towards the S's and the twisty section, and I mean I was able to really put the power on between these corners earlier in the track guide, but as you can see, these guys having to be really careful in these conditions. This one tightens as it goes around, and then this you've got to be patient and get on the throttle just at the right time to be able to carry the speed through this series of left-handers until you hit Degner 1 and 2. So you bang on the power, down to first, through the corner, back on the power and up towards the hairpin. At this point you're just trying to pick the right line. I had totally the wrong line earlier on the track guide. I was way too much to the left to make the best of this corner, but Stephen's doing a much better job of it, as they expect from somebody who's probably put a good few hours of practice in this week. Under the gantry there and up towards the spoon curves, which is sort of a hairpin, but you can see they just had to come off the throttle, stop the car washing out wide. He's waiting for the grip to come in on those front tyres and then ploughing the throttle. Of course you can be a little bit less patient in the dry, but these guys having to really tiptoe around here in these conditions to get the most out of it. And we are halfway through quali at the moment. Just complete this lap with Dan, and then we'll take a look at the standings so far. So he did a great job of 130R through the final chicane and down towards the timing line, and start finish straight he goes, and that is going to put him in the same position he was, but he has improved by nearly a second, so that solidifies that 7th position for Dan Stevens. So at the moment, Foster still first, and at the moment he is showing as up on his lap time by another half a second. He could be the first driver down into the 12s. Then you've got Wes Beekhouse, who's in sorting his set, about ready to go out for another bash at it. Still 6.5 minutes to go. Oh, somebody spun in the pits there. That's not what you want to do. Bartonks currently in 3rd.
Sliding around that corner, sorry.
Yeah, they're absolutely having to throw it around. It is sopping wet out there. So Bartong's currently in 3rd with a 14.4. Good second off second place. And delighted to say Rich Arnold got himself up into 4th at the moment. So I think what we were saying about the rain really is having that equalising effect so far. And getting these guys all mixed up, which is exactly what we like to see. Graham Morris currently in 5th, the race winner at Spa, and 5th position in the rain at the moment. And oh no, 6th now, sorry, because somebody, Mr. Mefferson, sorry, has popped himself up into 3rd, so he looks like he's challenging. And there you go, fastest lap has just popped up there. Adam Foster with a 2:12.7, which in these conditions is absolutely rapid and quite a lap. So Fairley is in 7th at the moment, not improving on his time this time around, but keeping going around, keeping heating his tyres ready for the next lap. Then we've got Lloyd Reed in the McRae. He's in 8th, and he's currently slightly improving on his time, but we'll keep an eye and see if he can jump up a few positions. Then you've got Dan Stevens, who we were covering earlier. He is in 9th, driving well again this week. Dal Weaver's currently in 10th and off the track. I think he's abandoned his lap rather than had a crash there. Prescott in 11th for Snail Racing. Alessio Amadi, another new driver with us today. He is in the 888 Ferrari, and he is in 12th. In 13th is Alan Davis, one of our regulars, if the cameraman can find him. There he is. And then you've got Bren Jones, who was a newcomer last week. He's not entered into the championship, but he will be from next season. But great to see him coming back for more. You've got Ash Humphries then, who is back in the pits again. Hasn't set a lap yet, and looks like he might not get to do so. Then you've got Wolf, another newcomer. He's in the Honda. Good man. And he is just starting a flying lap now. So I'm just trying to wait in to take a look of his livery to see if it was cool. And it is. But mostly it's a Honda. Zivkovic then is 18th. He was a newcomer last week, so great to have him aboard again. Alex Kingston, who was very, very quick during practice, looks like he's choosing to start from the back, unless he sets a lap imminently. Then you've got James H, who is currently in 20th in the Audi. And then you've got Dominic Engel, who's looking to set his first lap time, who is currently in 21st. So he's just coming through the first turn. Let's stick with him and see how he does. Aaron, did I hear you join in the background?
You did hear me join, good sir.
You did. Well, welcome, my friend.
Thank you very much.
We are just keeping a close eye on Dominic Ingles. He goes out for his first flying lap in these disgusting conditions. We like a wet race, though, don't we?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's, of all the places to come to tonight, for it to be wet here, big respect to the drivers for getting through this one.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be treacherous out there. I mean, Dougie was saying a minute ago, the cars are literally throwing themselves into corners and slipping and sliding all over the place, and you can see the drivers just having to wait for the grip to come in the front end, can't you, Doug? So far, it's treacherous.
Yeah, you can see it's just. I think it's going to be a struggle tonight for all the drivers. Not a struggle as in like they can't do it, but more of it's going to be so hard just to keep the car on track and just stay consistent, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean the main thing, of course, is the fact that it is 2 sprint races, so at least they haven't got to contend with the tiredness factor, you know, and the lack of concentration, because I mean the first one being 40 minutes isn't exactly going to be a walk in the park, but at least they know then they got a short break and another 20-minute race to sort of get themselves back on track if they've had a bad first race, but also just that break in concentration and the opportunity to have that little bit of a rest.
Also, just to mention, Foster has also broke into the 212s, and it looks like Beerhouse might also do the same.
Yeah, it looks like he is going to break into the 212s, but I think he's still going to be just behind Foster, but he's getting the best out of it. So we'll keep an eye on that now, and yeah, he is just under 2/10 behind, and Foster's just starting a flying lap now, which is showing at the moment as just purple by the smallest of margins. And Bartonk's currently well up on his time, nearly a second up at the moment, as he... I'm trying to figure out where he is. He's just heading into the last chicane, and then down to the start finish straight.
Oh, he's just lost a lot of time on the exit of the chicane there. Nearly 3/10. He was 1.2 up going in there.
Was he? Oh, okay, right. But still an improvement, and gets himself up into third. And he wouldn't have been any better if he hadn't lost those 3/10.
No.
But he may have just secured third from the guys behind him, maybe a little bit more, if you sort of see where I'm coming from. But still, and he's already 2/10 up on this lap, so it looks like he's on it. Adam Foster is pretty much matching his sector times from his best lap. He's showing as purple because he is up, but he's up by so little that it's showing as 0.0 on my actual screen, and fighting with position 4 with that McLaren there meant that he had to go off track to try and keep it up, and that just wasn't happening. Yeah, he'd made it look pretty anyway, didn't he? So here's Domingo, currently in 6th, but he's half a second up at the moment. And if you guys
been building and building.
Yeah. I mean, he's only just done his first lap of this. These will be the last laps now of qualifying. The timer has run down to 0, as you will see from the top left of your timing screen on if you're watching at home.
He got such a good drive out of Spoon there. He found so much time.
Yeah,
he's lost a little bit through 130R. Yeah, he's on for third.
So if you see anybody else, sorry, I was just going to say, if you see anybody else gaining time, guys, just let me know and I can jump to them.
Alan looks like he's on a good lap. But I was just going to say, for those people who don't know, myself and Luke now have the software and the facilities to watch people's lap times live instead of relying on the stream telling us when the purple times come in from people.
Yeah, so one downside of using the streaming software that we've got by ACC TV, hopefully you'll give us a discount for that mention, is that the guys can't see that data as we watch Davis go across the line, and he gets himself up to 10th, top 10 start for him. So is anybody on a lap? Fairley is still on a lap. He is improving. I don't think it's going to be enough to get up to the next position of 7th by the look of it, but it will be an improvement, and that is all she wrote. So there we go. That is that. So you can see.
Oh, Ingo did make it up to 3rd, by the way.
Oh, he did make it up to 3rd. Fantastic.
It's very tight in the midfield again, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is very tight.
A couple of groups, but very tight in the individual groups, if you like.
Yeah, and a couple of fast cars not setting lap times, which which we can keep an eye on those coming through.
Absolutely.
So I mean, who hasn't set a lap time? Ash Humphreys hasn't set a lap time. Kingston was really quick in practice. He hasn't set a lap time. So be interesting to see how we get on. So I'm delighted to be able to welcome our regular spot on a Thursday evening, Mr. I can't talk. Mr. Richard Arnold. How are you, good sir?
You've been drinking?
I haven't, but I fear I may be having a stroke.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm doing good, my friend. How's it all going?
Yeah, it goes good, mate. It goes good. My brain's a bit fried trying to get my head around all this new software and stuff, but the guys have got the old software that I used to use, so I've given that to them so they can see, as much detail as I can, which is really good, and they can keep an eye on things for me as well, and all good. So top 10. The rain is the great equaliser. But you must be really pleased, 9th and 10th for you guys as a team.
Absolutely. Over the moon with that. I've only driven this the last few days, and it became evident pretty quickly that Ferrari actually likes this a lot. We're pretty quick around here, so yeah, over the moon. Alan pulled in a lap right at the last knock-ins there and pulled in behind me because I think it was a few spots back. So yeah, as a team, over the moon. I think that's our highest qualifying of the year so far. So yeah, really happy.
Yeah, so I mean, conditions are suboptimal, as some would say. So going to be tricky out there, battling, finding grip. In what is normally quite a tense midfield battle, isn't it? There's a lot of guys with close sort of pace and ability there. So, any particular tactics for the race?
We've noticed, especially in practice, that even having 6 or 7 cars on track, there's a dry line that appears pretty quickly. So we've played it safe with the tyres. We've under-pressured them a little bit in the hope that they come alive a little bit later on. We think that's probably the way to go, but it's such a tricky track. It's tricky conditions, like you say. It's so tight in the midfield. To be fair, looking at those quality times, it's pretty tight throughout the grid. So, yeah, I think it's going to be trying to keep it clean, keep it away from people, and just take your chances when you can.
So the dry line is appearing even with the rain continuing, is it?
Yes, completely.
Okay.
It's certainly, by any stretch of the imagination, a completely sodden track. So, yeah, even in practice, when there was only 6 or 7 cars, you could see a quicker line appearing. So that is going to come into play without a doubt. Yeah,
so with 20 cars running around it, it should get reasonably dry for you guys, at least.
We would hope so.
Yes.
We would hope so.
So no pit stops to worry about. It's just a case of set the car up and go.
Yep.
So in terms of tyre wear, we don't have to worry too much about that. So it is very much as we watch Fairley get out of shape on the formation lap. That's not good. That's the second time I've gone to Fairley and he's crashed. He's not having a good time. I'm going to stay away from him. He's
Don't talk about me in the race, Mike.
The curse is real. The curse is real. So yeah. Anyway, my point was just about you haven't really got to worry about fuel and tyres and controlling with these sprint races. You can just go out and just do the maximum for the period of time you're out there.
Yeah, especially in the wet as well. The wet tyres are a bit more durable, so it is just a case of foot down and go for 2 races. Get the space as you can and keep your nose clean. Really, Suzuka, I've learnt in GT3, it rewards patience. It's one of them, especially through the S's. You just keep your throttle 25% and just go round it. The moment you start to push, especially in these conditions, it will bite you. So it's be patient, take chances when you can, and hopefully I can move up 3 or 4 spaces and have a really good showing this week. Yeah,
well, best of luck to you, and we will catch up with you after after at least one of the races, if not both.
Yeah. No worries, man. Have a good one. Speak to you in a bit.
Cheers. Great to speak to Rich as always, and he has, I think, had his best qualifying of the season there in 9th position. So I guess him and his teammate got to be happy with that, and they're there to protect each other a little bit as well, aren't they, Doug?
Yeah, definitely. I think if I was Rich, I'd be like saying to Davis, help me out, help people behind if we can. I suppose maybe try and create a gap and almost use Davies as a bit of defence maybe, because I know in a wet it could be hard to try and keep consistency, so you might allow for a bit of a mistake or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, you'd think he could be pulling him along, couldn't he? And especially if he knows he can trust his teammate, he can probably follow him quite closely. Excuse me, even in these poor conditions. Aaron, so you missed the top of the show, obviously. So just give us your thoughts on Suzuka as a whole, and what you're expecting to see from these drivers in these kinds of conditions around here.
I absolutely love Suzuka. One of my favourite tracks to drive, period. I think it's the reason being is similar to what Rich said. Really, it rewards a smooth driving style and patience, not just in GT3 cars, in the touring cars. And I think it's a little bit more of an attacking track in a Formula car, but there's just no respite. I mean, even this straight that we're riding on board with Foster with into 130R. It's not much rest time. Even the kink after it, you've got the chicane. The start straight's not very long. It's just a non-stop track. Struggling for the words, but I think the guys at home will know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a constant challenge, isn't it? Every part of the track has got its own challenge.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a very, very interesting battle and strategy really playing a part today.
So we had a comment in the chat earlier saying that the McLarens are not looking good here. We don't know if that's track specific or weather specific, but it'll be interesting to see how those guys get on throughout the race as well. So we are just about ready to get going here. We're just waiting for that green light to go, and then we can start calling the action on this first sprint race with 40 minutes of Suzuka before the second sprint race coming later on. So we are green light, and away we go, foot flat to the floor, and away we go down to the first corner. You can see them all giving each other plenty of space there not to get tied up in any accidents in this early part of the race, especially in these conditions, all being very respectful. And Bartonks gets himself up to third ahead of Dom Ingle there. Dom Ingle playing it very, very safe, and then the Honda of Wolf just a little bit further back. Lloyd Reed in the McRae making his way up. Rich Arnold has lost a few positions off the start. No, one position, sorry, he's lost off the start. There's a couple of flags showing. I'm just checking through them. Most of them are just warnings for slight contact and track limits, so we're all good. Back to the the lead, and Foster will want to keep the pressure on.
Oh, Ingle's
dropping.
Yeah.
Ingle is dropping. We are right. He's gone off the circuit.
Wolf too.
Let us take a look at the replay and see if we can see what happened to Ingle. So Ingle is in behind Tonks, as was his position.
I think there's a fairly hefty coming together here, Mike.
Oh, so Ingle.
The replay,
Yeah. So Ingle just loses it mid-corner, absolutely no grip, and then
you can't quite see it. I think you'll see it now. There's a lot of cars that are pointing the wrong way. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Prescott's got facing the wrong way, and then there's a couple of cars all got caught up in that. Davis has had to go to the pits. So Ingle and Humphreys are down to, Humphreys is actually up because he started at the back, but hopefully he hasn't picked up too much damage from that and he can carry on to the end. But yeah, just that shows just how tricky the conditions are, I guess, doesn't it?
Yeah, huge winner. You've just flicked to him. You must have been reading my mind. Amadio, wow, what an opening lap for that young man in the Ferrari.
Yeah, where did he start?
He started, I can't remember, I just know that it was
outside the top 10, I think.
Yeah, Rich and Alan were top 10, so he was easily further down the pack, and he's managed to get himself up into P7.
This was his move just up into 130R. I mean, in these conditions, that was brave.
Brave. Yeah, very brave.
Armadio's up 6 places.
6 places gained already, so fantastic opening couple of laps from the number 888. Fantastic stuff. So Foster still leading, but he's under lots of pressure from Wes Bierkhaus, who is in the Audi there just behind, and then Bart Tonks still in third at the moment, 1.9 seconds back off those front two, but not usually quite as quick as those front two guys, but I'm sure he's got the pace to hang on to what will be, I'm sure, a very welcome podium after a really difficult season. But Lloyd Reed not too far back, but that McLaren, we're told, not comfortable around here, but it'll be interesting to see if it finds its way in the race. So we've got McLaren, Honda, McLaren there, 4th, 5th and 6th. Be interesting to see if those guys who, as car concepts, they're normally quite quick in the wet, so it'll be interesting to see if they do find some pace during the race and the ability to really challenge these front drivers. So Wes getting closer and closer. He looks happier than Foster at the moment. He's certainly a bit more adventurous with the curbs and the white lines, isn't he, Aaron? He's not afraid to get the car out there and make the most of it.
No, well, I mean, Wes doesn't really have as much to lose as Adam, so he may as well try and pressure him into a little bit of a mistake, but risky places to be sticking your car, especially in conditions like this.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I was just about to say, I was watching Wes and just following Adam so close going into the corner. Surely spray must limit your vision a lot to be able to try and make accurate racing lines and decisions throughout the corners.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely does. We're just watching a replay now as Dominic Ingle is making his way back through the pack, and apparently he's just got past Weavers, and so we're just taking a look to see if we can see that. Very different lines through there. I think the replay may have gone back a little bit too far, and we're not going to see it.
I think you might see it, Mike. It could be into Spoon.
It just cut off. It just cut off, and doing that, he's also got himself up past Richard Arnold as well. So let's see if we can see that overtake. No, we've missed that one as well. This time we haven't gone back far enough. Oh, you can't win. But I think it was evident there that he did get past him into the final complex of corners. So at least there's that. And other than that, we're not having a good day with the old replay so far. But there we go. It is what it is. So Wes Bierkhaus at the moment with the fastest lap of the race with a 14.1, which is a tenth of a second quicker than what the race leader Adam Foster has done. So he's clearly got the pace to challenge him, although Foster is currently on for a quick lap. But Bart Tonks, who I claim did not have the pace to challenge these front two, is currently 3/10 slower than the fastest lap, but 7/10 up on this lap, 8/10 up on this lap, and looks like he's going to take the fastest lap. So he may well surprise us, gentlemen, and be able to get up there and challenge for that lead. I mean, his lap times say he can. That'd be great to see, wouldn't it, Doug?
Yeah, definitely. I think, as we were saying last week was a great performance by Tonks. I think we put him up for driver of the day, didn't we?
Yes, he was one of the suggestions, but I think Dan Stevens won it in the end, as it went to a public vote, as we all disagreed for the first time. But let's just see. Bart has lost a bit of time there. Adam Foster's gained quite a lot of time in the last half, so I think Adam Foster is about to take the fastest lap. There he goes, up it pops. A 2:13.5 for Adam Foster is the new fastest lap of the race. So yeah, cracking lap. But all three of these front two now into the 13s, which is a second faster than what everybody else is doing. So yeah, Bart proving he has got that pace to stick with it. So great to see that. Who else have we got here? Dominic Ingle has just done another overtake, so I promise this time, Dom, we're going to see your overtake. We're going to see it. We're going to see it on the stream. This is him overtaking Dan Stevens, who I was about to go to and say he's having a fantastic race in 9th place. He's still having a fantastic race in 10th place, but he's not in 9th place anymore because Dominic Ingle has got past him. So here they go down into the first corner, and Ingle has just slotted it nicely up the inside as Stevens runs wide, and through he goes. So yeah, that was pretty straightforward. So
It was easy, wasn't it?
yeah, I mean, helped a little bit by the mistake from Stevens, but still great to see an overtake. I mean, there's plenty of opportunities to overtake around here, isn't there, Aaron? I mean, you know, you've got this hairpin here, funnily enough, which we're on. You've got the final chicane, the first corner. There's plenty of opportunities.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes Suzuka such a great track. It's technical, but still with the ability to provide plenty of overtaking opportunities, which some tracks lack. You know, I think of Hungary. Hungary's quite a technical track. There's plenty of others out there that aren't coming to mind, but Suzuka's not one of them. Oh, big spin.
I was just about to join Ash Humphries as he'd made an overtake move.
Arnold was also dropped from that as well.
So this was Ash challenging Rich Arnold for position, which is what I was about to go to, and then we saw Ash flying off into the side. So I'm assuming he's going to make a move into Spoon, and then
He's on the grass.
So Rich Arnold goes into the grass, and he just tags him. Oh, that is such a shame, but unfortunately it does happen. But we're just going to watch another replay now as we've missed it. I was going to say Dominic Ingle has made another move and got up to 8th place and got past Graham Morris, but unfortunately the replay has not gone back quite far enough. But Ash having quite the adventure so far. I think that's the third time somebody's made contact with him in some way, shape or form. So he's not having a fun time. But there we go. Sorry, Dom, we missed another one. But stop making all these overtakes, Dominic Ingle. You're too quick. And the replay function does not like you this evening.
Oh, Wes has lost a lot of time.
Foster's
no.
was well dropped. Foster's dropped.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to pick Foster up on camera, and it's not coming through. So I don't know what has happened.
I wonder if he's disconnected.
I'm just going to go back 1 minute and
He's
see.
disappeared. He's gone off the list.
He's gone, yeah.
He's
We're
gone,
down to
yeah. He's
21
just
drivers.
dropping down on me, so I think he... Right, let's join Wes then, because that's who he was in front of, and let's see what happens if we go to Helicam. So you can see Foster is still there at the moment, in front of Wes, and if he rejoins the race, he can rejoin the race. That's one good thing about ACC, is if you are disconnected, you do get the opportunity to rejoin. I don't know if it is going to show us. We've only got 8 seconds of this replay left. I went back a minute, which I thought was enough. And it was before the hairpin, wasn't it? Oh, you just saw it glitch there.
Gone.
And that must have been where he went. So a disconnection. Of all things, a disconnection. Well,
That's not what he needed in his championship fight.
it certainly is not. And I think he's officially disappeared. But if he rejoins, he'll still get the points. If he manages to rejoin the server, he'll still get the points, even if he's not going to get many points. But he'll be taking this. He's got to drop a round at some point anyway. So if anything, this benefits him because it means he's going to be dropping less points. So he may well decide to sit it out and just lose the points, or he may well come back in. We will see very shortly. Mefferson has been off the track, so he's under pressure from the fellow Honda. Who I don't think is on the same lap as him actually, because it's showing that Fairley is next in track. So that's one of the Hondas that was involved in the accident early on, isn't it? Mr. Wolf, yeah. So he's a lap down. So that is okay. So yeah, all of a sudden then your race leader is Wes Bierghaus, and he has now a 4.5 second lead from second place Bart Tonks. Yeah, disconnections are so frustrating, aren't they, lads? It's just one of those things you can't do anything about it. You've got no control over the situation.
My computer's crashed twice, one in each race. And I don't know why. Well, it's still bugging me to this date several times now. But anyway, that's totally off topic. I've just wound myself back up again. But anyway.
But yeah, it's not even like you've had a bad one. You know, a disconnection is just absolutely the most frustrating thing on earth. But there we go. And all of a sudden, Lloyd Reed in the McRae finds himself up in third. Yeah, so cracking.
Also, just wanted to mention, Mr. Kingston started in 19th and he's now 10th, up 9 places.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
Yes. Yeah. He was extremely quick in practice and chose to start from the back. So I think it was evident how quick he was going to be. We're just watching replay here as Prescott gets himself up past Danny McFadden.
As we're watching that, Mike, I think Dom and Amadio are really battling. They keep flicking forwards and backwards on the timesheets.
Yeah, Dan Stevens has got himself up past Graham Morris doing this as well. But we're just going to pop to the Dominic Ingle battle. Well, actually, we're just going to stick with it. This isn't a replay, sorry. Just take that off. This is 4 position down into the first corner. And you see Dom went for the move, which meant he ran a little bit wide. Oh, and they've made contact. Ooh. And you could just see Amadio just did not have the grip then. And it slid him out wide. And he made contact, but he's kept the position, so he feels like all was fair in Love and War. I think we've had some contact between Bren Jones and Mark Shepherd, so let's just take a look at this one, see what has happened between these guys. So they're heading up towards Spoon, I think, from here. Shepherd runs wide. Oh. Yeah, I think he was kind of just expecting Bren to have gone by then. Probably not thinking about the fact that second part of Spoon, you actually have to... It tightens, doesn't it, Aaron? So you've kind of got to scrub off speed, so he was never going to be gone in that time, if you see what I mean. You've got to be quite patient on the throttle through there, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely right. I'm just looking at the lap times and just trying to see if anyone's even matching Wes's pace, but no one's anywhere near him. He's still in the 2:13s comfortably. Yeah,
Tonk's half a second back really is about as close as people are getting him, but most drivers at this point are down in it. I mean, most of the top 10 are in like 16s, 17s, 18s, so while they're battling with each other, that is. Oh, Fairley's had another off, and he looks like he's lost control. Let's just have a quick look at the replay, see what has happened to him. So I'm assuming this is coming down into 130R. It's the only track I know any of the corner names. Oh,
he's not a fanboy, he's just passionate.
Just passionate. Plus a fanboy. I'm a passionate fanboy. Yeah, just dipped a tyre there, didn't he, Doug? Which, you know, that was always going to end badly, unfortunately.
Yeah, grass plus rain just aren't a good mix at all, and that's why we're seeing the mistake happen there.
Right, another replay. Dominic Ingle.
Dom's made the move stick.
Yeah, so once again down into the first corner. And he looks like this time he's made it stick.
Kingston are close.
Oh, I tell you what else as well. That mistake from Fairley means you can now see him just in front of these guys, so it won't be long before Dom's on the back of that number 5 car. Sorry, that 5th place car, number 746 McLaren. But yeah, he
must have had a moment. He's back down to 7th.
Yeah, I've just noticed that, and we're gonna go back again. So we watched the replay. Now we're watching the replay of what we missed while we watched the replay. So
death by replay.
Hey, if we didn't have this function, it'd be boring. Oh, and again, he's done again. This is exactly what he did on the opening lap. The car does not like it through that corner. And I've not seen any other car do it, but for some reason, that Lexus does not like going through there. I wonder I mean, if it's a car characteristic, do you think, Doug, with it being front engine, so that the rear, of course, will be naturally a bit lighter than some of the mid-engine cars and the rear-engine Porsche? I'm wondering whether it's
potential.
wondering whether that might be the reason that he's losing it through that fast left-hander.
Would that be able to dialed out through setup? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I mean, it is something you can
Would it be?
dial out through setup, but I mean, in these conditions,
Yeah.
with it being such little grip, I think there's a potential, Aaron, that he just can't quite do it.
Yeah, I was looking earlier at when he put the move on Rich Arnold, and he got so much better drive out of the last chicane, and I just thought, I wonder if he's running slightly less traction control in the aid of trying to get better corner exits, through throttle control and short shifting or whatever other driver tactics you might fancy. Because the only reason I mentioned traction control is it looks like a lack of traction spin, which no one else seems to be doing, and that's the only thing I can put my finger on at the minute.
Yeah, and he's in the pits now. I just noticed him tumbling down the order, so he's got damage from that crash, so he's decided to pit. I'm just looking to see. Foster did come back into the race. Of course, he is at least a lap down, if not two, by this point, but at least he made it back in, so he does have the opportunity to pick up some points, at least, which may prove important when it comes to the final championship battle. So yeah, there we go. So just checking, so there's lots of position changes, but it's mostly because Dominic Ingle is in the pits. Rich Arnold was showing as white flag a moment ago, so let's go back and see what's happened to Rich, whether he's had a little off. Yeah.
Oh.
Another one with just not patient enough on the throttle, just trying to be as quick as possible, but I mean, they clearly are suffering out there for grip and really struggling on traction, aren't they, for corner exits. They're trying to get it down, and it's the car's just not having it.
Do you think it could be the fact that Rich mentioned about tyres coming to him, the tyres aren't coming to him as the race progresses, maybe?
Yeah, could well be. He's got it wrong. I mean, we are only just over halfway through this race, so if the tyres aren't in the window now, they're never going to be. But I suspect, I think it's probably more to do with conditions. I think drivers are losing a bit of concentration and trying to be a little bit too aggressive on the throttle, I would say. But Kingston has made up a couple of places, so let's take a look at the replay and see what it looked like. So this is what it looks like when you've got spray up into your windscreen.
It's like absolutely nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so they're doing so well to follow each other, these guys. But,
See, Ash managed to get past Morris as well.
yeah. So this is Morris about to be overtaken by Kingston, and he's also been overtaken by Ash in the process as well. Morris
Thought better of it into 130R.
Yeah, Morris I think he overthunk that. If you see my meaning, I think he was trying so hard to defend into 130R, he ended up defending thin air, and sort of cost himself on corner exit, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Easily done, though. Easily done.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Not a criticism. Just an observation.
I have no shame in saying I have done that one before on Race Room and had exactly the same type of moment as he had. So don't worry, you're not alone.
Yeah, absolutely. So, sorry, I didn't realise the UI had reset on the left, so it had lost. I did have manufacturer and gap up on the left there, but it had disappeared for the viewers at home. We've had a comment asking what the lap time difference is between Wes and Bart, but I can tell you that the last lap there was a second between them, a 2:13.5 to a 2:14.5, but their best lap, there's only 2.5 tenths between them. So, Bart does have the potential to challenge Wes, for that person who commented that on the stream, but he is not quite there at the moment. He's not able to do it on a consistent basis from what we can see. So let's have a quick run through the field then. So you got Bierkhaus in first. I mean, it's his to lose at this point, I guess, isn't it, gents?
Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Then we got Bart Tonks, as we were just discussing, who is, as quick but not as consistent, unfortunately for him. But I'm sure he will be absolutely delighted to be up in second place at this point anyway. Next along we have Lloyd Reed, and he in the McRae is just getting caught by Mefferson. Last lap for Reed was a 14.7, and the last lap for Mefferson was a 14 flat. So Mefferson finding some pace in that Honda, to the point where he may well be challenging for the last podium position. Whether he'll want it or not is another story, because the top three from this race do not qualify for the next race. But we've seen through some of the drivers, like we'll come to in a moment, that isn't necessarily a bad thing around here, although they will have half the time to make it work. But Andrew Fairley currently in fifth. He's had a couple of adventures off the track, but he's still managing to hold on to fifth at the moment. So then we've got Alessio Amadio, a new driver with us today. He's had a few adventures himself, but he's in sixth, having started towards the back. Alex Kingston, who did start completely at the back in the Ferrari 778, is currently in seventh and is catching the man ahead of him by a reasonable amount. Eighth place, and a fantastic eighth place at the moment, and even if he loses this position to Ash Humphreys, which we'll stay with as we see if he can do the overtake. Oh, and again, another example of people trying to defend in the 130R when you can't overtake through there because you're full throttle until you hit this point. And Dan just tried to defend it, but Ash made it work. We've seen that a couple of times now, haven't we, Aaron? And there's no point defending 130R because you can't overtake through there. You're full throttle. Apart, you drop a cog, to stop yourself from carrying too much speed, but you don't hit the brakes until the chicane. So why are people defending it?
It's got to be pressure and absolute fear of I wonder if it's just doubt of who's behind them, and if they're alongside of me, are they going to poke a nose when the move's not on? I just wonder if there's an element of I don't want to cause a crash, so I'll defend my area of the track and maybe compromise myself instead of just saying, no, this is my track, you have to get past me.
Wes has had an issue of some sort. It's flashed up with a couple of flags, so we'll just take a look at the replay and see if we can see what has happened to Wes. Oh, it looked a bit twisty there, but he's kept it in line. I think just the way the car runs on this wet, I thought he was going to lose it then.
He's got a hell of a gap back to Bart Tonks now.
Yeah, I think Tonks has made a mistake, but it does show that Wes has been off track somewhere and made contact with something. I'm not quite seeing what or where or when.
Also, just to note, Morris has just been in our pits as well. Don't know why.
Okay. Well, he lost those two positions, so we can only assume he's got some damage. And so it said Wes had been off track, but as you can see there from that replay, we saw absolutely nothing happen. So no idea what has gone on there. But he's Bart Tonks has had an issue somewhere because he is now 13 seconds further back, which has actually brought Reed into place for second position. If he can keep consistent. Yeah, the last lap for Bart.
Mefferson's down to 19th.
Yeah, he just put him down a lap all of a sudden.
I think he's disconnected, is he? He's still fourth on mine.
He's P18 on ours.
18 on.
I
Everyone's
think
on yellow.
I think the server's gone. Yeah, look, everybody's in the middle of the air.
Oh
Look.
no!
The server's died.
Oh.
The server's died. Oh, look at that for a shot. Let's just take a look at all the positions of these wonderful cars are in.
Show us some flaw.
Yes. Zivkovic is in the trees, apparently. Dominic Engel is in that bush.
Oh. Is someone good at doing a David Attenborough impression? Because this would be really good right now.
Oh, Mark Shepard is constantly kicking up dust, as you can see there, but not actually in view. Sorry, we are just having a laugh, guys, but yeah, it looks like the server, unfortunately... Oh, that one's stuck in the concrete. Marvellous. Absolutely fantastic.
This is like racing exorcism.
So the server does appear to, unfortunately... it unfortunately has crashed.
And anyone else here got engine? Oh, full
Yeah.
revs.
Yep.
in the background.
Yep. A lot of CO2 is being emitted right now.
Oh, yes,
Ooh,
look
flying.
at that.
Harry Potter, eat your heart out.
Can we go on board at that point?
Alessio Armadio is...
Wow.
That'll be the engine we could hear at full chat. Look at that for a view.
Quality TV.
Hell yeah.
I mean, thankfully nobody's actually had that view of Suzuka before, because
I
I'm pretty
think that
sure
should
they
be
wouldn't
season
have.
3.
They wouldn't
That's-
have survived it.
That's the season 3 advert for the league, that view.
I mean, it almost looks like a season 5 advert for Stranger Things. Never
I suppose
mind.
you could say he was flying through the pack, wouldn't he?
And now he's flying through the air. Oh, Aled Jones would be proud. Yeah, so I don't quite know what's happening, folks. I'm waiting for word. I don't know if one of you gents, just because all my screens are tied up at the moment, if you can check the Discord to see if there's any chatter. If
I'll
it,
have a
Just
look now.
flicked into it and there's nothing.
there has
No one's saying anything.
there have been issues with the server provider today, so I'm wondering whether some of that has filtered through. But do these guys all still think they're racing?
I don't know. I'm briefly going to leave our stream and join their voice chat and just see if I can pick some brains. So I'll disappear and I'll come back.
There we are. That's what he's here. That's why he's here, folks. That kind of journalism is exactly what we need. But yeah, it does look like the server has completely died. But I think
Quite strange.
Amadio is definitely the winner of Frozen Car. It's definitely the
Driver of race 1.
but the Ferrari is definitely the best. I mean, this one's stuck in the ground, and then Amadio's the opposite of that, being there. There's a couple you can't quite see. Oh, Asher Humphries is
Ooh.
in the crowd. Yeah, so
And you've got Amadio on the left as well. You can see him just out of focus.
oh yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I didn't spot that. Good spot, my
2-4.
friend. Dan Stevens is in the toilet, apparently. There we go. So, hi, Dan.
It's like Alton Park all over again, but posher.
I'm back.
Okay,
And
Right, they're still racing.
okay,
It's perfectly fine for them. So
Okay.
it looks like it's us.
okay. This
That
is
has
good.
the
This is good news. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave the server.
we're on cement for 5 minutes.
We're going to go back in. So yeah, don't quite know.
The guys were all saying there's been server issues all day though, so it may just be down to that.
Yeah, it could be spectator mode as broken. So bear with me a moment because my software's disconnected. There we go. I need to get that on blank. I need to get to a driver who's actually in a race. I need to get to a camera angle that isn't that crap. Yeah, it's a bit all over the place, so I'm just going to give it a minute because these drivers are jumping all over the place. I mean, Rich Arnold was just showing us first place, so I'm not quite sure what is going on, but Wes is still out in front. It seems to be sorting itself out, guys, so if we can just give it a minute. There is still 7 minutes left of this race, so we're just going to give it a minute for the software to settle down and sort itself out and decide where people actually are, because at the moment it's not telling us much at all. So there we go. People are starting to fall back into the positions that they should be in, and
I will say, Mike, that my telemetry has timed out, so I'm back to being in the dark. I don't know how
just
to
go
do
to
it.
settings and press connect again.
Yeah, go back to settings and reconnect. It's because I had to leave the server, so if you go to settings and reconnect with the same details, you should be able to pick it up.
Yep, I am back in.
There we go. So I mean, that is one of the strangest things I've ever seen, and I've watched all 4 seasons of Stranger Things, so that is quite the achievement. Anyway, back to the action. The guys have all the software sorted itself out. It knows where everybody is, and let's check on audio. He's on the track. He's not in the middle of the air. Fantastic. So Beercow still in first. Bart Tonk's nearly 15 seconds behind now. So not 14 seconds, sorry. So it looks like he's just got to try and hang on to that position. Lloyd Reed is in third, and having a cracking podium at the moment, but not over. You can see Mefferson in the Honda in the background there. The Honda likes the wet. He was on pole position in the opening race of the season. Let's not forget, so Mefferson is no slouch in these kinds of conditions, so he could yet take that. Or is he holding position? Is he playing that tactical game to avoid the podium so he can qualify for the next race and try and get himself in pole position? But that said, the pole sitter from the first race, Adam Foster, had a disconnection, so he's currently down in 21st, so he'll also be qualifying for that next race. So Dominic Ingle is back out, and he's just made a move stick apparently, so let's take a look at the replay and hope that the world doesn't go to crap while we're watching it. So here we are watching Dom as he chases down the McLaren of Bren Jones, one of the newcomers to the league. And
we went a bit wide, but I think Brent made a mistake as well.
They both went wide. I suspect he sort of went wider than he needed to avoid the accident, and but he's made it stick. And while we've been watching that, he's also got himself past Richard Arnold.
Wow.
And Richard Arnold does... Oh, I've got a fatal game error this time. Absolutely fantastic.
It's not going well, is it?
It's not going well at all. And here we go. Are you still there, boys?
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay, I heard a plinky plunk, as if somebody had left the chat. That's all. So, it's probably
it's the stream's
yeah,
ended.
of course it is. Yeah, of course it is. Okay, so perhaps it's me then, boys. But yeah, seems strange. I've never had ACC crash on me, never once. And
There's always a first for everything, Mike.
there is, and.
The first graph we've seen tonight.
That was quite quick, that, Luke.
It was. He's on form. He's on form. Yeah, sorry about this, folks. To those of you watching, we had that very strange crash where everybody was floating through the air or in the ground or disappeared altogether. I assumed the server had gone down, but it wasn't. It was just us at our end. Perhaps I'm thinking the server issues might be to do with spectator mode. Quite possibly. So let's get back into the server then. And see if we can... Only 6 drivers in there according to this, which doesn't bode well.
Green light, give us all you can.
There's definitely more than 6 drivers, aren't there? Right, let's connect that back up. There's plenty of glitching going on tonight, so apologies, folks. Not quite sure what on earth is happening with these servers today, but doesn't make for the best viewing, does it? But we are trying our very best. We're a live show, folks, and sometimes these things do happen, unfortunately. So once again, we'll just wait for everything to settle back down, and hopefully we'll get some action in the last few laps. There are.
I'll tell you what we could do, guys, since there's no action on screen. Do we talk about drive of the race? Just maybe reflect a little bit on what we've seen so far, so there's no dead air, if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just waiting for this to sort itself out. So if you guys want to discuss yours while I sort of get myself together here, then I'll do mine last.
Yeah, no problem. I'll lead us away for this one since I brought it up.
Give it all you can.
For me, so far from what we've seen before the game crash, I'd probably give it to that number 778 Ferrari, Mr. Kingston, for me. Obviously, I missed a bit of practice, and I caught the back end of qualifying where he didn't set a lap, but I think that's what's actually done it for me. The fact he did not set a lap, started last, avoided all the carnage, and he's managed to get himself all the way up to P7. As of the moment that our stream crashed, he could be into P6 now, past Amadio, because the timings that it crashed at, the delta was very close. But pending no mistakes, from what we've seen so far, I'd probably give it to Kingston. What about yourself, Dougie?
I'm just going to stop you in your tracks there for one reason only.
It's because he doesn't count towards the championship.
Yeah, all new drivers do not count towards the championship, so it does.
I keep forgetting.
It does need to be.
But I would agree otherwise.
Yeah, so he
so
will have the you know.
He will have the commentators.
Yeah.
We'll come up with a
The
cute
game show
slant
equivalent of a cuddly toy. So
yes.
he'll win the cuddly toy. So if you can, perhaps Dougie, if you go, and then Aaron, you have to think of a driver who is in the championship officially,
Yes.
while Dougie does his and I do mine, and then you can have another go.
I would go for Ash Humphries because he's, from what I can see here, he was 8th, and obviously he started way back. So I think that's great progress for Ash, and he's been involved in a few incidents too. So I think it's good to see he's still managed to climb a ladder, even though he's had a few knockdowns, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to give it to Dan Stevens, but I gave it to Dan last week, and I think I agree with Dougie in that Ash Humphries' drive has been a bit more impressive, purely for the fact that he's had a couple of incidents that were not his fault. And sorry, I didn't even notice the timer had run out there. And Wes Beekhouse has won the race out in first place. Congratulations, Wes. Absolutely fantastic stuff. But yeah, I agree on the Ash Humphries from my point of view. So over to you, Aaron.
I'd probably make it 3 out of 3 there then. Yeah, all the same reasons as you guys. Ash probably tips it for me as well. So there we go. Ash Humphries, driver of race 1.
He is the driver of race 1. So where's one from Bart Tonks? Fantastic for Bart. I'm so pleased for him to get on the podium. Really am. And a Dutch one too as well. There we are. Lloyd Reed in 3rd. Fantastic podium for him. Mr. Mefferson in 4th in the Honda. Fairley 5th in the McLaren. Alessio Amadio in 6th. Kingston 7th. Humphries in 8th, our driver of the race. Dan Stevens about to come across the line for another top 10 finish and a fantastic, a top 10 finish after finishing 11th last week in the endurance race. Fantastic drive from Dan, well done. Darryl Weavers in 10th, again, fantastic from him. Just kept it consistent, kept his nose out of trouble, and there he is. He's up in the top 10, and we've not seen him that high at all, or if we have, not for a long time. So fantastic for him. Dominic Ingle in 11th. He's been through the wars. Those 2 accidents that were just him taking the corner and just losing the back end for no reason that we could gather. So perhaps setup related. Perhaps we'll speak to him later and get to the bottom of that. Rich Arnold in 12th. Graham Morris carrying it home in 13th. Zivkovic in 14th, Bren Jones in 15th, Shepard 16th, James H 17th, Wolf 18th, Davis 19th, Foster doing a flippity-doop in 20th, Prescott in 21st, and McFadden in 22nd. So there we go, that session is done, and we wait now for the server to reset, ready for qualifying 2, which is a 5-minute shootout.
Green light, give it all you can.
Which
It's going to be very close on time.
yeah, I mean it's a 2-minute 15 lap basically, isn't it? So I mean if they are absolutely on it, will get 2 laps, because as long as they cross the line before it's 0, they will get to finish with that particular lap. But yeah, I'm basically it's going to be 1 lap each, isn't it, boys? I mean it's going to be very unlikely you'll get more than that. So yeah, who's our pick for pole position then in this one? I'm finding it difficult.
Quickly, are you able to share your screen again, Mike? Because we can't see it.
No, I can't. No, it's an unacceptable request because I want you 2 guys on camera for a moment, and once I'm done talking nonsense, I will share my screen. Of course I will. But I've got you guys on camera for the moment on our multi-screen format because I want to talk about who we think is going to get pole position in this next race.
I suppose the easy bet would be Foster, if he puts go lap time in. I think. Unless I've been too confident in saying that.
I think a dark horse could be Kingston. If he does qualify again, he might not qualify. I wouldn't be surprised to see someone like Methison up there. To see, maybe it's even the likes of Dominic Ingle. He had a 2-minute 13 in him as well in the race there. So I think there could be a couple of guys who go for it. It just depends on who can hook the lap together.
I don't know what's going on, you guys, but these guys are all stuck in the pit lane. I'm wondering whether it's crashed again.
It's not going well.
Now they're going.
No,
That's
going
really
up,
weird.
yeah.
Unless they pre-designated that, it had to be a 1-lap shootout, maybe. So they've had to time it so that drivers can't possibly get more than 1 lap, maybe. That's the only thing I can think of, because that was bizarre. They were all just sort of sat there at the end of the pit lane for ages. Maybe they changed the format slightly and I've forgotten, because they probably did tell me, but I have a memory like a fish. Yeah, anyway, so sorry, someone said Foster, didn't they?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Aaron, any different on that?
I think I did a typical politicians review and listed about 5. I had Foster, I had Ingle, I had Kingston, and I had Methison, all for pole.
Well, I'm going to say Foster's going to struggle now because he's just had to go back to the pits after crashing. So he's going to struggle to if he gets back out. He is going to struggle. But yes. Anyway, let's get back to the action. Let's get you guys seeing what I'm seeing, and then we will see who's right. And God knows, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna choose. Who do I think? I'm gonna choose Dominic Ingle for pole because he had so much pace in that race when he wasn't spinning around in circles. So I think if he can hook a lap up, he's going to get pole position. But let us see. Who do we go with first? Who's going to cross the line first?
I was going to say, I think we go with whoever's going to cross the line first.
So I think Fairley is the furthest along track at the moment. Yes, he is. So he will be the first one across the line. So let's jump on helmet cam. Aaron, take us around a lap of Suzuka in the wet.
Here we go. Bold, brave time to be alive as we ride on board the McLaren down to the main straight. Very, very, very fast turn 1. Interesting to see Mr. Fairley going offline almost there and taking it back.
To avoid puddles, I suspect.
Yeah, it could be. Misses a couple of the apexes there, but I think that could be puddle related again, or just understeer as we build our way through the S's. Possibly the most technical part of the track. All seems good so far. It seems like a fairly stable lap. You can see there was loads of puddles there on the inside of
Unintended.
As we build up to the last part of the S's now, and we start to increase speed towards the Degners. Very fast right kink in the dry, and equally just as fast in the wet. Let's see how committed Fairley is. Yep, very, very nice line. Takes plenty of curve on the exit, which sets him up nicely for Degner 2. As we build up to the hairpin now, you can see on his dash there, I don't know how accurate that is, the tyres look a little bit cold. But takes an inside line. That almost tells me that he's scared of not making the hairpin there, just purely out of understeer. But we built again the speed now, so critical to get such a good exit building into Spoon, which is the left-hander we're about to reach. He had to lift a little bit there. I wonder if that was puddle related again. He just clipped the grass and got it stopped. I don't know how he managed to do that. But you can see it's really not easy for these guys. As we build up now to the fastest corner on the track, 130R. How brave is he going to be through here? This could make or break your lap. So we'll hold our breath as we build up. It's coming, he's in there. And he's nailed it, to be honest. Not as committed as some of the other guys as we've seen in the race, but nonetheless, still a decent line through there. He's kept it on the track. That's all he needs to do. Bit of a clumsy chicane. Now you ride the curves. It's a little bit bumpy. And there's even a bump here in this little bend before you reach the start-finish straight. But it should all be flat out to the line. And what's he going to set, Mike?
He's going to set a fastest lap so far of a 2:15 flat, and that's not going to be enough for pole, I don't think. Morris has beaten that with a 14.7, and you guys can see those fastest laps flashing up at home. So Morris currently a pole sitter as it stands with a 14.7, and already 2/10 up on this lap as well. Richard Arnold currently in third. The software is not quite picking up the positions correctly, so bear with me. As you can see, they're all a little bit messed up, which is a bit strange. It's not quite working correctly, this new software. There's been a few issues since the American tracks were released with the update, apparently, so maybe we'll put it down to that. I don't know, but as it stands, Morris is improving on his time, which is already quick enough for pole. Loads of drivers in the pits not even trying to get a lap in. The board is down to 0, so those on a lap can improve, and we're going to have a well mixed up grid here. And
Foster on pole with a 2:12. What a lap!
Wow,
Faith.
that is quite a lap there from Adam Foss. He did manage
He
to
did
just...
that in the race.
What's that, a 2:12?
Yeah, he did a 2:12 in the race.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, he did, yes.
That's
Before his
absolutely rapid.
unfortunate disconnection. And as you can see, we've had a few connection issues ourselves. Oh, Morris ain't going to improve now. Not have to do in that. Fairley is up on his time. He's currently showing as 4th. And it's just
A little bit squirrely, that, didn't it?
yes. For some reason, they aren't sorting themselves. The software isn't sorting them into the actual order they've qualified in, which is why you're seeing them all a little bit messed up on that left-hand side graphic, which is a little bit strange. So I don't know why it's doing that, but what I am going to do is clear data and disconnect and then reconnect.
I think it's just sorted itself out, Mike.
Yeah, I just cleared it, disconnected and reconnected, so hopefully it'll be all okay now. But there we go. Dougie got it right. Foster takes pole position. I mean, yeah, if he was going to get a clean lap in, that was to be expected. I think. So we've got our 20-minute race coming up in just a couple of minutes' time. So these guys have had that first race, so now Dougie is all about perfecting the setup. You know, learning from what they can from that first race and getting it right now in this one, isn't it?
Definitely, I think if you've in essence had a bit of a how can I put it, right, a bit of a rubbish race one, you can kind of learn from that and go, right, okay, that's where I went wrong. Let's have a good race too. I think we were saying this before about it's not one big race, so you can kind of have a bad racing and actually go, right, this is a race to go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Doug, I mean, the conditions not going to get any easier, and if anything, the track will be less dry. You know, in this race, due to there being a shorter period of time for them to run, so trickier conditions really in a short period of time. If you sort of see what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, you can learn from race 1, but race 2 is also a different kettle of fish as well.
Yeah. Rich, you've managed to squeeze into the comms box again. How are we? Good, eventful race. One there for you. 12th in the end, I believe. But yeah, it just I think you got caught up in that sort of melee at the beginning, didn't you? Which sort of cost you a bit.
It was a bit of a melee, wasn't it? Yeah, I got sort of, as per Spa, I saw Alan in front of the track in front of me sideways, and sort of having a chat with him on comms. I think there was a bit of a domino effect of something went up front. We don't know what it was yet, but yeah, he lost a bit of front end aero, and just through the S's could not get the car to go where I needed it to go, so it was about 3 seconds a lap down. So yeah, tough day at the office, but it's one of those, we move on.
Yeah, but here we go again. Starting 4th for this one. Nice mixed up grid, should give us lots of overtaking and action with everybody. Well, not everybody, but lots of people being out of position and such for this. But a chance to really reset. Make the most of these 20 minutes and get yourself some good points.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm over the moon with 4th. That's way beyond what I expected today. So yeah, I'm beaming for that, absolutely. And hopefully, being in sort of, top 4 away from the grid, we should, if there's anything going on, we should keep a bit clean with any luck. So that's what I'm hoping for. Some points coming.
Yeah. Boys, any questions for Rich? I'm hogging the limelight as always.
My quick question is: are we going to try and get a podium this race? Are you in reach?
Well, if I play it clever, Mr. Wolf in 2nd is a newcomer, so therefore I am technically 3rd already. But yeah, who knows? I'm going to try and keep it clean. There are some fast cars behind me. I don't know. It's going to be a case of defending more than going forward. I think Foster's very, very quick. Don't know what happened with him in the first race. I saw he had a pit and was last.
It was a disconnect
as far as I can tell, mate. Yeah, he disconnected because he completely disappeared from the server and then came back in. And then we had 2 big issues ourselves. So
funny enough, Alan also disconnected at the beginning of qualifying, so something's going on.
Yeah, the servers are not quite right because first of all, it froze where all the cars were like, in the ground or in the air or disappeared altogether. So we thought the entire server had crashed. So Aaron popped into the drivers' chat and realised you guys were still racing, and we were like, "Oh right, okay."
Just carry on. So, well, we like to keep things interesting, don't we?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it's all about, yeah.
I exited, came back in, and after about 2 minutes, my entire game crashed for the first time ever. That's never happened on ACC before.
I think something's going on.
Yeah, I think since the update, there's a few issues with servers and such, but there we are. We ploughed through.
Yeah, looking forward to race 2. I think this is going to crack on, so we should be looking forward to it.
Yeah, have a good one. Wish you all the best, and we will catch up with you later on.
Cheers, gents. We'll see you soon.
Cheers.
See you. Cheers.
There we go.
I'm just going to go grab my inhaler before the race starts because it certainly took my breath away the first race.
Do you know
I'm so sorry. I could not resist.
The jokes just get worse, ladies and gentlemen. Please don't leave us. Please come back for more. Please do.
My talent are bad jokes. That's my talent. My only talent, to be fair, actually.
Right, I was about to say I'm going to go get a drink. So while we're just waiting for this race to start, we'll just have a moment of silence just while everybody gets themselves sorted, and we'll be back fighting fit, ready to commentate on this second race for you. Just a brief moment of silence, folks. We'll be straight back. There we are. We are back. I've managed to grab myself the drink I needed. And we are ready to go racing in race 2. So they're still making their way around the circuit on the formation lap. Just past the second pits as they head down to 130R.
Does anyone know why it's called 130R?
Because
It's to do with the
degrees
go
of
on,
the
Mike.
corner.
Go on, Mike.
Sorry.
Yes.
It's the degrees of the corner, but it's at a 130 degree angle. Basically.
Is it the degrees or is it the inside radius?
Or is it the radius? Is it?
I think I might be wrong.
Oh, it's
I
six. That's 6 of one half dozen the other, really. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it?
It's
Is it a
something
ball
along
or a
those
Sophia? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, but no, I see your point. Yes, it will be the radius, won't it? That's why the R comes in. Yeah. So I remember somebody once saying, "Why is it called 130R when it turns left?" R means right.
Oh God.
That's excellent. Also sounds like something I would also say.
You're not giving yourself enough credit there, my friend. But here we go. We are ready. We are a 20-minute sprint race away from the results of this, and then just the final race of the season. But it is lights are green, foot flat on the floor, and away we go down to the first corner. The Honda really having a go into the first corner, but Foster nice and confident on the inside, keeps it nice and tidy. And the Honda thinks better of it. Dominic Ingle currently in third. Rich Arnold looks like he's going to get a little bit swallowed up there into fourth. But Graham Morris backs out of it and gives his space. So there's a bit of concertinaing going on in the background there. You can see him getting closer and further away. And they've all got to be careful not to just get that a little bit wrong in these conditions. And it almost looks like they're tiptoeing around at this point, doesn't it, boys? It looks so slow due to the conditions.
Everyone does seem to be very careful at the start here.
I don't think anyone wants to be that one to make a mistake.
Just watching a replay here because McFadden seemed to lose a load of positions, but it's just right, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, he was just trying to give space. He was on the outside of the track, and unfortunately, he just got it a little bit wrong. But that does happen, doesn't it? But at least he was trying to do the right thing. But it's still Foster from Wolf, from Ingle, from Arnold.
Oh, Almadio and Zukovic.
Yeah, it looks like there's been an accident. We're just going to
Big accident.
pop to the replay and see if we can catch what's happened here. So here's Amadio going up towards the hairpin.
Side by side with Mefferson. Or is it Mefferson?
No, that's Zivkovic who was side by side. So they're all a little bit slow through. Oh,
dear.
he got onto the grass, could not stop it, and took the Ferrari out on his way.
Didn't we see that in race 1 too? Or not the same actual incident.
Yeah, we saw
Similar
something
incident.
similar, and then they're both frustratingly unable to get any traction to get out of the kitty litter. But yeah, that's a badly damaged Ferrari. That's going to have absolutely no front end at all. Wolf has dropped a position, and It looks like he may have made a mistake. So let's just pop back and see what has happened to Mr. Wolf. He's under pressure here from Ingle into 130R. Ingle thinks better of it, or Wolf runs wide, and Ingle makes a move stick anyway. Another example of people defending thin air and losing out because of it. Wolf has had another issue. I'm not sure whether we're going to see it if we stick with this. I don't think the replay is going to go far enough, but Wolf, I think we'll watch another replay if we can, because he's gone from 3rd down to 12th, so I'm wondering, does he have a little off here? Oh, little tap. I think it looked like contact. I can't be 100% sure. It looked a little too quick, a snap rather than just to be a snap of oversteer, if you sort of see what I mean. I don't know your thoughts on that one, boys.
Being inclined to agree, I'm not too sure, but it did look like a quick spin.
I tell you what, one of you can check, if you can go into your software
yeah,
and see if there was an accident between cars number 21 and car number 24. If it says there's an accident, then there was an accident.
We've got contact between number 6 and number 37.
It should give you a time.
Contact 21 and 24,
yeah, so there was contact. Rich Arnold did make contact with the back of it, and the Honda looks a little bit out of shape again now. The number 21 Honda just not having a good time of it and drops another couple of positions. So back to the front, Adam Foster well out in front now. Dominic Ingle is currently in 2nd, and Richard Arnold currently filling the 3rd podium position, but under a lot of pressure with some quick drivers now. It's McLaren central behind him with Morris, Fairley and Humphreys all looking pretty quick in this race. And then we've got Dan Stevens being challenged by Alan Davis for 7th and 8th.
Also, just to mention, Tonks and Bakehouse has also made up 8 places together. They've moved up into 13th and 12th.
Awesome stuff. Sorry, it promoted Danny McFadden to 1st place then, and is now he's gone into the pits. It's sort of like demoted him, so it looks like everybody's doing an overtake, but they're not. So that's why all the names are sort of a bit blank on the left, while it sorts itself out and decides where everybody should be, because somebody's ported back to the pits. But Adam Foster currently with the fastest lap of the race with a 2:13.110. As you can see in the bottom right, of your screens if you are watching at home. Dominic
2 Ferraris are fastest through the speed trap with 251 kilometers an hour. If you want an interesting fact.
That is good to know. Prescott has lost a couple of positions. Let's take a look at the replay and see what has happened to Paul. So he's ahead of Beneficent and Bakehouse at this point. Just understeer, and that just shows us a prime example of the drivers, what they've got to deal with. It's just so tricky out there, it's so treacherous, that it's just so easy to what looks like almost a silly mistake, because you're traveling so slowly, but to lose a position like that. But it's just the conditions are just what they are. Not easy, is it, Aaron?
No, absolutely not. It just looks like such a pain to be driving around in these things. They almost look like boats on the surface of the track. Kudos to everyone for just sticking with it and cracking on, because it's not easy doing this sort of thing. And even though these are sprint races, it still doesn't take away how difficult it is to push lap after lap for 40 minutes and 20 minutes.
Yeah, indeed. So those of you watching at home, you can see on the left-hand side the gaps between the drivers next to the manufacturer of car. New fastest lap of the race there just popped up for Adam Foster, a 12.8. Absolutely outstanding lap time. His to lose now, providing he doesn't make any serious mistakes. He is
Well held, Norris.
Good to go, and that was well held, but Fairley does get past, and the reason I was sticking with this was because these guys are all pretty bunched up together, and I was hoping these four would have some battles, but that mistake from Morris has allowed Fairley past, and it's also allowed a bit of breathing space for Rich Arnold in that Ferrari, so he's just got to keep his head down and keep it going. We are 7.5 minutes into this 20-minute race already. So time flies when you're enjoying yourself.
Just trying to look at the lap times, Mike, in the Delta, see if there's anyone even close to challenging Adam Foster. The only one who, other than Dominic Ingle, who's in a 2-minute 13th, it looks like Bart Tonks is one of the faster guys on track, so maybe just keep an eye out for Bart coming through the field.
Yeah, so we're watching, Mefferson, Bakehouse and Tonks all close together. They seem to they followed each other through from the back, really. All of similar pace and ability, so we'll keep an eye on these guys. But Davis still defending that 8th position from Mefferson as it stands. Here they come through the second part of Spoon and up onto the straight that heads down to 130R, which is called that because it's a right-hander you take at 130 miles an hour, isn't it?
Because you do 130,000 revelations a minute. Oh, is that Rich Arnold
It's
spinning?
Rich Arnold, he's lost it all by himself. And I don't know if there was contact because Fairley is also showing that he's made some contact. So I'm just
contact 746 and number 24.
Yeah, I'm just going to take a look at the replay and let's jump on bonnet cam.
He's just been clouted.
Yeah, he's just been clouted. So, and that has cost him absolutely dearly. Oh, and then he got caught up in that, and then they made contact, and then the Honda somehow doesn't make contact with them.
It's like bumper cars.
Yeah, that none of that intentional, just a bit messy, unfortunately. Difficult one that. I mean, strictly speaking, Fairley probably should have given the position back, but given the position they were in the part of the track, I mean, if he'd waited, Fairley himself would now be down in 15th position for a minor tap. So you kind of understand him carrying on and perhaps thinking, look, I'm probably going to get a penalty after the race, but better to get a 10-second penalty from 3rd than, sacrifice the positions and end up in 16th.
Yeah, it's probably the most. It's probably the best thing to do with regards to where Fairley wants to finish results-wise tonight, isn't it? If he wants the best possible outcome, even you as a driver, you kind of have to gamble if what if I don't get a penalty, and you'd only kick yourself if you give the places back, and there was nothing to penalise.
No, exactly. Ash Humphries has managed to get himself up to 4th. He's up past Morris. That was his view as they head up towards Spoon.
Wow. That is just all sorts of commitment, isn't it?
And he just stuck with it, and Morris just slid a little bit wide, and Humphries said, cheers pal, off you go, and gets himself up into 4th place. Do you know what? I wouldn't bet against Mr. Humphries getting himself a nice little podium, yeah? He looks quick. He's followed Fairley through. Back to the Fairley accident. I mean, he clearly didn't mean to make contact with Rich Arnold, but it's just one of those slight misjudgments in close combat. And in these conditions, whereas normally it might have just been a little dunk, Dougie, with it being so wet, it's sent Rich spinning round, isn't it? So it is a tricky one to call.
Yeah, and the cars are so sensitive in these conditions. It's, as you said, it's far less leniency between a contact now. A little tap and it sends the car off balance, and that's it. It goes round. Yeah,
Adam Foster has done another fastest lap. He is now done a 12.3, which is insane. That's only 6.5 seconds slower than what I did in the dry for my track guide. So, am I that bad or is Adam that good? I'm not going to answer that question. I'm going to move on, and we're going to take a look at Dominic Ingle has also managed to get himself down into the 12s, but a 12.7. So, despite the fact he's got himself into the 12s, he's still not quite quick enough to catch and challenge Adam Foster.
Just speak about Humphries getting a podium. He could inherit the podium from Fairley, to be fair, if Fairley gets a penalty.
Very true, very true. I'm sure he'd probably like to take it on track, especially as he's taken nearly a second out of Fairley in this lap alone. Whether Fairley has picked up maybe a little bit of damage, maybe that hit on Rich Arnold was a bit heavier than we thought, and he might have a little bit of front end damage. Doesn't look too bad, but equal machinery other than the ability to set the car up. So, 3 McLarens, Fairley, Humphries and Morris going for it. Or Davis has been overtaken by Beerkhouse. Beerkhouse now up to 6th after starting from the back. And let's take a look at how Wes got that one done by taking a look at the replay. So Wes is behind him coming through Spoon. I'm assuming it's another case of somebody defending thin air into 130R, boys, but we will see in about 10 seconds time. Here it comes, clearly.
To be fair, Wes has got a good run there, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's had it done before it. I mean, he's got it done. Run a little wide because obviously he had to take 130R so tight, but yeah.
He had to take it at 140 instead of 130.
140 miles an hour. Oof, that's brave.
Oh, Davis is slipping down the order.
Yeah, Davis has had a little spin. Let's just again take a look at the replay and see what has happened to Davis. So Davis had just been taken over by Beerkhouse. He's got Bart Tonks behind him heading into the first corner. Oh, and Tonks just makes contact with him and then makes contact with him again. Oh, that is a little
Both Ferraris
clumsy.
having no luck.
Yeah, that Rad team are not having a good time of it, and
It's a shame, really, because they looked like they were going to have some decent results.
yeah, I mean, they certainly looked like they had the pace to stick with it. You know, there was nothing to suggest that those guys were going to have any problems. You know, at least maintaining those top 10 positions quite easily. But unfortunately, it is not to be today, and not entirely not at all their fault, really. But there we go. So here we are. Ash Humphries still challenging Andrew Fairley for this final podium position, regardless of whether he does or doesn't get a penalty. That we don't know at this point. What we do know is Ash is quicker, but not quick enough to make a move stick at the moment. But look in the background here, you can see those two Audis of Tonks and Beerkhouse getting quite close. We've got 4.5 minutes left, which is going to be maybe 2 laps, possibly 3, depending on when Foster crosses the line. So not long to go. This second sprint race has absolutely flown by, guys, isn't it? Plenty of action. But yeah, Foster is still 4.5 seconds out in front, ahead of Ingle. So this is the main battle now. You've got Fairley from Humphries, from Morris, from Beerkhouse, from Tonks. These are the ones making the moves. As I said, that these guys are not going to make any moves going through the S's. Wolf in the Honda has got himself up past Prescott. Let's see how he's got that done, and then we'll get back to the action in a minute. So they're just coming through the final chicane onto the start-finish straight now. He's had a much better exit, so much so that he's had to come out the throttle to avoid smacking his back end in, isn't he, Aaron?
Yeah, he's still managed to get the move done, though, by the looks of it, so fair play. Mr. Wolf, you've done very well there, sir.
Yeah, nicely around the outside, down into the first corner. Nice
Very
and smooth.
textbook.
Can't argue with that, but yeah, let's get back to this battle then. So Humphries now under pressure, more from Morris than he is putting pressure on Fairley. So Fairley has dropped him a little bit. He's gained a second on this lap, and Humphries struggling a little bit in this phase of the race, and just keeping keeping an eye on when Foster is going to cross the line to see how many more laps we are going to get.
I can't believe there's only 2 minutes and 45 left. It's absolutely flown by.
Yeah, these 20-minute races.
Action non-stop.
Yeah, these 20-minute races just fly, don't they? There's always something going on. And Richard Arnold has lost a position to Alex Kingston. Let's take a look at that replay while we're waiting for some action from the cars up ahead. So there's Kingston in the Ferrari. Oh, Rich trying to challenge Reed, just got it a little bit wrong and slides out wide, which is unfortunate. So here we are back with this Humphreys, Morris, Birkhouse, Bart Tonks battle still ongoing, and the battling behind has allowed Fairley to get a bit of a gap going now on these guys, and he's got nearly a 2-second gap now back to this battle, so he's got himself a bit of space. Ware's going to go up the inside. Oh, it looked like he was just sticking the nose in there, but he's decided against it on this lap. Foster is 30 seconds into the lap, so this I think is going to be the last lap, although we didn't call lead was on the last lap, so I think it's too close to call at the moment. We may well get one more lap.
Also, Adam has also managed to build an almost 9-second gap from second as well.
Yeah, that is more Domingo pushing hard and making a mistake, because his last lap was a 16.7. So very good point, but I think Dom's been pushing so hard to try and keep up and perhaps challenge him that he's just made a little mistake along the way. But he's still got a nice 10-second gap back to this battle. But Fairley's made a mistake, because Humphreys all of a sudden now has gained a second again on him on this lap, but he's still got Morris for company. Humphreys just needs to look forward, concentrate on the battle ahead, not the battle behind. And that was the sound of a commentator with a squeaky bum moment as he really thought that Morris was going to make contact with Humphreys there, but he doesn't. But Birkhouse is so close to this battle. Let's jump up to the helicam so we can get a good view of all of these cars as they battle each other through these final phases of this sprint race. And we're just trying to keep up with all of them. It's hard to do. Even the camera can't keep up. So it is still Fairley from Humphreys, from Morris, from Birkhouse. Tonks has been dropped a little bit by these guys, but he's still not too far behind, still only a second off. Birkhouse getting closer and closer and closer. Oh, and a big mistake from Morris, and he's completely overcooked the corner.
Leader has finished the race.
And that was the last lap, so Foster has finished the race, and he is the race winner. And Dominic Ingle is going to come across the line in second. Andrew Fairley is going to come across the line in third position. And podium, Ash Humphreys fourth, great drive from Ash. Wes Birkhouse and Bart Tonks in fifth and sixth, great drive from the back of the grid. Fairley has gone from challenging for a podium to finishing seventh due to that accident there at the end. Mefferson in eighth, good drive from him again from the back. Wolf ninth, Prescott in 10th. Great finish from Paul, and that is a cracking result for Paul. Really pleased for him. And Dan Stevens in 11th, and another great finish for him. Weavers in 12th, again much improved. These guys, really great to see them, how much they've improved, finishing in and around that top 10 from when they started with this league. It's absolutely fantastic to see. Lloyd Reed is in 13th. Kingston ended up in 14th. I'm assuming he must have had a little accident somewhere. Rich Arnold in 15th. Davis in 16th. Brent Johns is still driving around out there in 17th. Zivkovic in 18th. Shepherd, who's just about to cross the line, in 19th. And James H in 20th.
Driver of the race.
Your winner, as you can see on the screen in front of you there, is Adam Foster, the number one, as he is the defending champion. So, awesome. Yes, gentlemen, your drivers of the race. Dougie, seeing as you brought it up, you can go first.
I am torn between Birkhouse and Tonks. 14 places up, and just a great drive from both, so I'm torn because equally performed, I suppose you could say. But I'll say Birkhouse because he did just come ahead of Tonks, I suppose.
Okay, Aaron.
I'll give a kudos to Adam Foster first. Didn't put a foot wrong. Fastest lap, pole position, race win. Absolutely nailed race 2 there. But for my driver of race 2, I'm gonna. Oh, it's a tough one. I'm gonna lean towards Wes Beekhouse.
I think we can make that unanimous. I think that was a cracking drive in that second race, and to be fair, in the first race as well. So to show that consistency in those conditions over both of those races cannot have been easy. So we've got a plethora of drivers. I think that's the official term when you've got more than 3 drivers in the comms box. Absolutely great to see lots of them joining us. So if you've got video, do turn it on because you are on stream, and as is my ugly mug as usual. But Aaron, Dougie, I don't know if you've got any specific questions that you want to ask any of the specific drivers who are in the comments box. If you have, feel free before I delve into my usual nonsense talking.
I was going to say, general question is, how difficult was that? Because it looked extremely difficult. Open to anyone. How difficult was it really? Because it looked absolutely awful.
Pick somebody to answer that because there's about 20 of them and it's going to get messy.
I can only see a few. Adam, go on. Seeing as you won that race, how hard was it to keep onto it?
Very easy for me, to be fair. Once I got out, once I got about a second's gap, I calmed down, settled in, and just pushed as hard as I could. And I didn't put a foot wrong in that second race, but I had a weird glitch disconnect in the first one.
Yeah, we had the same. Just just to fill you in, and sorry for the viewers who have heard this story, but yeah, you'll see if you watch it back. But we had cars floating in the air and everything. But you guys were still racing. We didn't realise, so we left, came back, and then the ACC completely crashed for the first time ever. I've never had that happen. So race 1 is a bit bitty because we had a few technical issues. It was even impacting on the TV software. It was really, really strange, right? But a few issues, but you do get that sometimes after a big update, and obviously with the new tracks released this recent week or so, that kind of explains that. But Aaron, any questions?
Yeah, I've got a question for Rich. You started P4. We were hoping, or yourself was hoping, that you were going to get a podium, and it kind of just fell away, really. What looked like was going to be a solid track for the Ferrari kind of turned into a disaster, mate. Just wondered what your thoughts were on that second race.
Oh, I am so upset. Got up to third, was keeping pace. I mean, the guys in front of me were pulling away, but I was keeping the guys behind me, and I just got absolutely nailed into the chicane at the last corner. And yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about it because that was my first time being in third place, and yeah, not a happy bunny.
Yeah, we did catch that. We managed to catch it on the replay.
I haven't seen the replay, to be fair, but it certainly felt pretty solid from my view.
Yeah. It looked nasty. But commiserations, my friend. Can't have been easy. Can't have been easy for you at all. But you stuck with it, and chin up and on to the next one, I guess.
We go again, mate. We always go again, don't we? So it's all fine.
I just realised that I've just been calling this the penultimate race, but it's not, is it? Because we got a rerun Kyalami yet, and I forgot about that. So
No, Kyalami's been cancelled now.
Oh,
so
is it? Okay.
Next week will be the last week.
Ah, so it was the penultimate race. I'm not a liar. There we go. That's good. So Adam, did you expect the Porsche to be a good at Suzuka? Was it one of the tracks where you thought the car would be at its best?
If it was dry, yeah, I would have been struggling big time. But the wet's a great equaliser, and I overfueled that second race, so the car was a bit heavier because the Porsche works better with the fuel in. So yeah, I've done really well that second race. Just disappointed with the first bit.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we said on the stream is nothing more frustrating than a disconnection because it's just completely out of your control, isn't it? Which is hugely frustrating. But
I did come back out. And I was chasing the only person that was on my lead lap, and that was Alan. I got to about 7 seconds before he crossed the line.
yeah. Well, you know, you got to give yourself a little sort of mini game, really, haven't you, to keep yourself entertained. But one of those things. But no, but well done on race 2, and obviously with the drop score system, I'm sure it won't hurt your championship too much. As frustrating,
No, should be fine.
Should be fine. I just want to have a speak to Dan Stevens and Daryl Weavers, who both joining us in the comms box for the first time. So cheers for coming in, boys. Really appreciate it. I want to say something generally to the both of you before we get into specifics, but your driving, the two of you, seems to have improved so much over the recent weeks, particularly in this second season. So I just want to congratulate you both for that, because you really, really look to have made steps forward. So congratulations to both of you on that, because you know, you're finishing in and around that top 10. You know, a couple of weeks in a row now, so that is absolutely amazing to see. And so I just wanted to say that. But yeah, Dan, take us through those races. You look like you had quite a bit of fun out there in the Porsche. A couple of not so fun moments as well. But yeah, a couple of you sort of got caught in a couple of those melees, I think, from what I could see.
Yeah, first race seemed all right. Second race was sort of my own doing. I just had a brain fart, really, into 130R and forgot to brake properly and slid off, which then resulted in catching up with, I think it was Rich who spun, and I tried to avoid him, knocked into Mepperson, I think it was, and then just got turned around. So it was a bit frustrating, but yeah, cause of my own doing, really.
Yeah, it's still good points though. I mean, you know, you were, I think, what was it? Was it 11th in the first and 10th in the second race, or somewhere around there?
9th and 10th, something
9th
like
and
that.
10th. Yeah, cause, so I mean, you know, it's still a really good haul of points for the AM Championship.
Yes, they were, especially as I beat both the two drivers ahead of me, which makes it better.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it makes that championship, and like I said, you know, drop scores haven't been applied yet, so you know, it could have a huge impact on where people finish. But well done, and as I said, congratulations on an ever improving season. So great to talk to you, Daryl. Yeah, you seem to have real good consistency, particularly in that second race, and managed to get yourself. I think you finished 12th in the end. So you're happy with that overall?
Yeah, I think compared to the first season, I think that's the driving's come on quite a bit, and yeah, that was a bit interesting in the wet for sure.
Yeah, there's a reason I did my track guide in the dry.
No, but I've just thoroughly enjoyed it, to be honest with you, especially racing closely with Dan as well. The points are quite tight in the championship, and that's been really good. And most of the races have actually been within sort of 1 or 2 places together as well. So I think as far as sort of the championship goes, it's been really good close battling with him as well, so it's made it more fun.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're driving, as I said, you know, I not blow smoke up anyone, but you know, but you two particularly, you know, we've seen, you know, the guys have commented a few times, you know, just how much you guys have come along that learning curve, and it's absolutely fantastic to see. You know, consistent performances coming from you guys now, which only bodes well for the championship and makes it closer. You know, going into season 3, where, you know, hopefully it'll get closer and closer and closer, and you guys will keep learning. So kudos to you, and well done. Boys, Aaron, Dougie, ask some questions. I'm running out of stuff to say. So we haven't spoken to Lloyd and we haven't spoken to Alan. So there we are. You can ask each one of them a question each.
I was going to speak to Lloyd and just ask him about how the tyres performed tonight. Obviously, Rich on the formation lap mentioned how he undercooked the tyre pressures with the hope of having them come back to him later on in the race. So I was just wondering how tyres were affected tonight, and further developing on that question, how bad were the puddles for the wet race?
The tyres, I must admit, did catch me by surprise on the first race. It all the pressures were based on, you know, a few on the track, but in race conditions they were getting up to about 30.6. So I was driving in the puddles to try and cool them down. I noticed Bart ahead of me doing the same thing, so that seemed to keep them in check. They never got any worse. But I kind of struggled for traction this whole track, basically. It's just the McLaren, I couldn't get under TC6, and then even then I'm just drifting absolutely everywhere. And I think Rich might have seen me sort of go off track a little bit and do a massive power slide. Jesus, he took 2 corners in one massive slide. So no, it's the good thing about the McLaren that I love is even when it does sort of break traction, it's quite controllable. So, you know, for a wide open track, you're not hitting things too bad. The tyres in the second race were fine, if anything a little bit under, so it's just hard to judge the wet when you don't quite know what it's going to be like with all the cars going on track and how much it's going to dry out and stuff.
No, absolutely.
Not too bad.
We, to be fair, we noticed a lot of cars struggling with traction, not just the McLaren. I think Dom in race 1 really struggled in the right-hand curve coming up to the Degners. He spun twice, and it just looked really difficult on traction all the way through. But it explains why people were going offline. We thought they might have been avoiding puddles, but it probably will have been to cool tyres down. So thanks for that little insight.
Yeah, I just wanted to sort of follow up on that. Do you guys, particularly with these sprint formats, do you sort of learn your lessons from race 1 and then obviously you're thinking, well, hang on, you know, that wasn't quite right, the tyres weren't quite right, the suspension wasn't quite right, and just make those little tweaks to have a better race 2, you know, or do you just sort of stick with what you know and go for it either way?
I think to be fair, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, I just haven't got the experience to dare change anything, so I know what the bad bits are, and I'll keep with that.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think you adapt your driving rather than change any setup, because I don't know enough now. So you put 2 clicks the wrong way, and suddenly you can't drive the car anymore. So, just change your style instead of the car is my general go-to.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's me to ask a question for Argon, and
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Argon, obviously you qualified 10th. How do you think it went tonight? Was it difficult? Obviously Adam said he found it quite easy. How did you find it difficult, or did you kind of find a groove and got used to it? Or
no, I found a groove, but it did not go well. I'm feeling pretty similar to Rich. So race 1, I think I've seen the replay. Dom had a moment on lap 1. Caught Wolf, one of the new drivers, who went off and just was a passenger, came back on and totally collected me. So the car was driving at a 90-degree angle, so that was the race over. Back to the pits for 5 minutes and had pace. We knew we had pace in both the cars. Talking about traction, the traction was really good on the Ferrari. We both thought it was going to be our strongest weekend. So you put loads and loads of practice in. Running well in race 2, same as Rich. Rich was in 3rd. I think I was running about 7th. Rich got, from what I've seen, torpedoed. And then I got collected on lap 1 as well, while trying to give space. I suppose it's frustrating that we're both trying to find form. We've both been sat back in the mid-pack, both in 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. We finally get to a position where we're going well, and I think we must have a sign on our rear quarters on the Ferrari saying tap here or hit here. It's doubly frustrating when it's a drive. We got drivers that may be quicker than you and just can't be patient for a few corners. It's demoralising when you put hours and hours of practice in just to be tapped off and end up in 16th in that situation. So frustrating night.
Yeah,
shall we say?
Yeah, I can imagine it is a very frustrating night. As we know, even in the other league, we don't do as much practice as you guys, and it's frustrating. So I can only imagine how frustrated you are now. So I can only sympathise with you.
That for me and Rich tonight would literally be the race of the season for us. 6th place, 5th place would have been popping the champagne tonight in celebration, and it's just been ruined by 2 incidents that people just had to be a little bit more patient. That's all they needed. It's frustrating when you're deliberately given lots of space as well.
Yeah, you almost want that reciprocated, don't you? But it's not always the case.
Things happen for a reason, gents, and I'm sure a race where you probably don't deserve a result, it'll probably come your way. So just keep pecking away, lads. That's all I can say.
Keep your heads up.
Yeah.
Those guys.
And bin the Ferrari as soon as you can. It's not had any luck for you at all this season. If you had any luck at all, it's only bad luck, I think, as the saying goes. But gents, thank you all so much for coming along and giving us your insight. It was absolutely cracking tonight. Race 2 seemed like it was about 3 minutes long because it was so fast and there was so much going on. It was absolutely brilliant. The first one, we had quite a few technical issues, so unfortunately wasn't the most entertaining to watch, but the second one is definitely worth watching back if you get the opportunity, that is for sure. So thanks to all the drivers who took part, thanks to all the drivers who've joined us in the comms box as well. Congratulations to Wes and Adam, our 2 race winners for tonight. And thanks as always to my co-commentators, Aaron and Dougie. And I am now going to end the stream and go and have a cup of tea, because that's how I like to celebrate in the evenings. Hardcore on the hard stuff. Cheers all, thank you very much, and we'll see